Hey everyone, Sean Smith here with Dedicated Financial GVC here in Roseville, Minnesota. I'm the founder and CEO here with Rob Warland and Mel Wieting. Guys, welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
Mel here is the founder of CreateMPLS and Rob is executive director. And we partner with them, I want to say a couple of years ago at this point now. And basically all sales from Dedicated, every time we sign a new client and just overall partnership, we sponsor a team with CreateMPLS. And we just, as we do at Dedicated, we have a metric. So every time we sign a new client, it in essence generates a donation to you guys, right? And so the more we grow, the more clients that sign with us, the more it helps you guys with your mission. So just maybe give the audience your background and kind of how you came to CreateMPLS and how that all got started.
I guess I will start. I have a background in electrical engineering, computer systems, sensor systems. I've worked at a government research lab for about 20 years, then I started doing consulting. Moved from Northern California to South Dakota, and of course everybody in South Dakota said, "Why did you move here?"
I was gonna say, that's quite an interesting change there.
Yeah. Then came to Minneapolis, mostly doing consulting, but just I moved downtown, and I love to walk. My wife and I share a car. I try to walk or bike whenever I can, but just walking around downtown, you get a feel for what's going on, and I used to walk to church and walk right by a community center, and at some point I just started envisioning having something where we could go to the community center, get kids from the local area and teach them about technology. So just kind of that thought kept percolating, and sort of circumstances, and a friend of mine and I, we started CreateMPLS about 6 years ago? Yeah, 7 years ago. As a before school program at Hope Academy in South Minneapolis. So I guess that's kind of my background and how we got started.
And I knew.
When did you come on board, Rob?
Yeah, I was officially as the executive director in 2019, but I was a volunteer and attended some fundraising events because I knew Mel and the other guy that started it. And so I was a part of it, I knew what was going on, and then Mel approached me in early 2019 and said, "Hey, we'd love to be able to grow this thing. Would you consider coming on in this relationship?" Yeah, he had to really hard, it was a tough decision. So 2019, I joined the team as executive director, and since then, been working to make the organization sustainable, effective, and help it to grow.
And for those who don't know, Mike Mrozak, many of you do, on our team, who heads up kind of our strategic partnerships. He's also on the board of CreateMPLS and brought the concept of working together. And I, for a while, grew up down in South Minneapolis, so there's a connection point there on Bloomington Avenue. And that neighborhood has changed over the years in both good and bad ways. But to be giving back to an area of my childhood as well, that was also motivating to me. But I guess if you guys wouldn't mind just jumping in and just giving a little bit more detail as to what CreateMPLS is and what does it do, how does it get back and help kids?
Yeah, well, it started with Mel wanting to be able to provide students an opportunity, or kids an opportunity, to learn about technology. Part of that is realizing that there is a significant lack in both females and people of color in the tech space. So he wanted to do that, and as we've grown the organization, we've seen that there is a major gap with STEM opportunity in Minneapolis and even some of the closer suburbs. Students just aren't getting opportunities to learn about STEM topics, and so we focus on technology. Specifically, right now we're doing programming and robotics, hands-on and engaging opportunities for students. We're also moving into 3D printing and drones as well, which is really fun for students to consider doing. And part of the reason, again, is because of the STEM achievement gap, but also because of that lack in qualified candidates in the tech industry. There's a gap right now, and tech is just going to continue to grow as a industry, and so we want to help prepare students for the future of work.
So when does the drone racing part start?
This summer.
I get signed up for
Yeah,
that.
this summer.
This summer.
For sure.
And so you kind of went over this a little bit, but maybe just a little bit more clearly. What programs does Create Minneapolis offer right now? And then you talk about some that you're looking to start here soon or
Yep.
have.
Yeah, so what we do is we partner with schools and nonprofits to provide these hands-on opportunities. K to 12, we'll work with any of those ages in there to learn about how programming works, even from working with kindergartners, first graders, talking about sequence and loops and simple things like that, but then also doing some building things as well, and then eventually they learn about mechanisms and motors and sensors, and so we're able to work with a wide array of students. We do that through out of school time, we do that in school day classes, and we do that with competitive teams. Again, students are learning about how to program, about how robots work. We're doing app development as well, which is a part of programming. And then some of the things that are on the horizon, mentioned 3D printing and drones. We've also, over the last year, been looking into how to integrate technology into hydroponics, and Mel can kind of speak into that.
I think that's
So right now we're working at 11 locations, schools and nonprofits to run our programs, primarily in South and North Minneapolis. We also work in St. Paul, Brooklyn Center, and Hopkins right now. And again, our goal is to remove barriers for students. If knowledge, transportation, or finances are a barrier for you to be a part of these programs, we want to remove those barriers. So we go to the students, we don't charge any money at all to the students or families to be able to do that, to be able to participate in our programs. And we specifically want to target those who maybe don't know about it, maybe can't afford it. So we really try to focus on the students who don't have that opportunity. So 11 locations, we're approaching 1,400 students that we've been able to work with just in the last 7 months. And so we're hoping to continue to increase that to give more students an opportunity and exposure to technology.
We get you partnered with the Man Up Club too, which is also working in those areas that we work with the Man Up Club here locally as well. But that's just big reach. And it's funny because I never really heard of like STEM kind of separately like that until Create Minneapolis. I'd only known about a school that was kind of STEM focused, of course, way out from downtown. So to hear you're getting that much reach already, and I think I'm friends with Deb Rubin, who does some judging, is involved in that space as well. And if you're in the Minneapolis and St. Paul area and you're looking to give back, whether you're a business or you're involved in the tech space, and you want to see that diversity, you want to see kids having access to this type of technology. And we had lunch today and we were talking about how you have one student as an older brother who's in college saying, I'm not even doing what you're already executing on well, in the grade school level. So it's pretty amazing. I'd love to know for you guys, and as someone who's a founder of his own nonprofit, what is the most enjoyable thing for you? What is that thing that's absolutely filling the joy tank for you guys as it pertains to working with Create Minneapolis?
Rob probably knows my story. It's been around for a few years.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when we started 7 years ago, we did Lego League teams for grade school kids, and probably the first maybe even 5 years that was our primary thing. We did other things, but that was our primary thing. So I think
shout out to the Kamatazis, right? Is that
Kamatazi team.
Kamatazi, the dedicated sponsors of the team. Love you guys. I'm excited to actually get out to some in-person stuff. But sorry.
So anyway, my favorite story, and I told the board this, and they kind of laughed at me, but that's okay. Is I was in the Skyway, waiting for my son-in-law to meet me so we could go to a Timberwolves game. And I was just sitting there next to the gate on my phone, and kind of out of the corner of my eye, I saw this kind of short person walking toward me. So I looked up, and it was a student who at the time was probably a fourth grader. Her name is Josemary. And she came up and gave me a hug and said, thanks for what you're doing. And then she introduced me to her dad. So like for me, that's it's like I didn't it's nothing that I expected, but just the fact that she didn't really know me that well, but she was appreciative enough of what we were doing, and it's not just me, it's we, that she came up and acknowledged that, and that was really cool. So
It was in that moment that all the hard work and the headaches and the frustrations and the why did I get myself into this moment became worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just the appreciation from, and it's so many students. It's not just that, right?
Yeah,
But we hear it all the time. It's like, wow, this is really cool that we get to do this stuff. So it's just getting that feedback from them, and you just know that you got to keep going and growing because of that feedback. But
We could talk about metrics and numbers and how many students all day, but ultimately it's things like that. And it's the student who says, I can't do this, and then 20 minutes later realizing they could, going, I did it. That's the win right there. Mm-hmm. To build that confidence in kids, that's a big win right there alone. It's not necessarily the technical skills, those matter, those are important, but if you can build confidence in kids, that's a life changer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can only relate because of the work I do mostly down in Haiti specifically, but the other night I got a report card from a kid down in Haiti who was just excited about her grade average and was thanking me. And again, it's in those moments that the hard work, the sacrifice makes it worth it. And growth equals impact, right? So the more we can grow Create Minneapolis, the greater impact we can have, the more lives that can be changed for the good, that have greater opportunity. Because like we were talking about at lunch, it's often just access, right? It's not talent or desire, it's just access. It's so cool. I'd love for you to talk a little bit of just what your future hopes are for Create Minneapolis. What do you see? 14 students right now. How many locations was it?
11 locations. Nearly 1,400 students.
So what do you see over the next 5 years for Create Minneapolis?
That's a hard question to answer because I don't have the gift of prophecy. But all of the locations beyond the one that we started with, they've come to us. They're learning about us and they're coming to us. So that to me shows that we're offering quality programs. So we want to continue to grow, but we also want to do it well. We want to continue to have quality programs. We don't want to just come in and do things that aren't that effective or impactful. So we want to continue to be able to grow the nonprofit to be able to serve the students better, and not just the students, but more students better. And then on top of that, we're looking at other avenues of being able to serve people in the Twin Cities, specifically in Minneapolis, integrating education and technology, and also trying to help alleviate food scarcity. And so what we're working on right now is integrating technology into vertical farming through a hydroponic system. And so that's something that Mel is working with a few students on. We're also partnering with Urban Ventures, and one of the things that they focus on is food and nutrition. And so we're working with them in the city of Minneapolis to build a year-round greenhouse where we can have it as an educational center, integrate technology, and then also get fresh produce to people in the community. Even think about fresh strawberries in January. It's unheard of, right? You have to get them from somewhere else. But we can grow that here.
Well, something I was just kind of exposed to. I was just down in Dallas. Shout out to Ismael Santiago, who introduced me to Bonton Farms, which is in one of those food deserts. Mm-hmm. And so basically, no one went into Bonton unless it was for not good reasons. And they've been able to really work in radically changing this community. But it also started with investing in that community, giving opportunity, and growing an urban farm within there, but that it did so much more than just provide produce, right? And I can say the same thing for Create Minneapolis, and what you're looking to do and what you are doing is it's creating so much more than just STEM, opportunity and robotics and things like that, right? That is going to transfer into families and generations. So it's really incredible. Mel, how about you? What are your hopes and goals kind of do you see for it?
Well, we want to keep pushing forward with the level of technology. We have students who are now in grade school that hopefully by the time they get to high school, we'll be doing a lot more of, having parents realize that what they're learning through our programs is really preparing them for any college, or even potentially to just go right into the tech field, right? But just to back up with the hydroponics, it's been a really fun project that I have a background in ag, but then we went, Rob one of the schools that we just are partnering with is Heritage STEM Academy, and Rob was talking to them, and that's one of their interests is to do hydroponics / aquaponics. But the goal with, there's a twofold goal there. One is, we kind of have this core thing about teaching kids technology, but we also, at least I have a vision that we can build a small hydroponics unit that's maybe 3 feet by 5 feet by 1 foot that we could donate to families that students we have in our programs, and they can be growing their own vegetables in their living room or wherever they want to, and it can be a learning tool for their kids also. So I don't know, we're just looking for different ways that we can impact people in our community essentially.
Well, and you would have the technology and the team of people that could build literally 3D print the parts, and
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
it's really cool. So, all right. So, final question, something fun, off the cuff, first thing that comes to your mind. What would be something that's someone wouldn't know about you typically, or just one thing that most people don't know about you?
So my wife loves to call me the house husband because I work from home, so I cook and all that kind of stuff. So I think most people probably don't know that, but I like stay-at-home husband. Yeah, I'm a stay-at-home husband. It's a good inside joke, but she likes to brag about it, right? That I'm the stay-at-home, and she likes to say she's bringing home the bacon. So
And he cooks it.
exactly.
Nice. My wife would probably call me the opposite. The out-of-home husband. You'd be home more often, right?
Yeah, for me, my first job was working on a farm. It taught me a work ethic that I couldn't trade anything for. So baling hay, milking cows, picking rock, and I think that's something that I want to help students with. I want to help my kids and other kids see the value of a strong work ethic.
I grew up around farms for a while. When I got kicked out to the farm area for a brief period of time, it taught me how to play in corn crops and find my way out of them when I got lost. But a little bit different than we're growing up working on one. Well, thank you guys for being on the show. I hope our listening audience is really designed for the banks, the leasing companies, the fintech companies, the advocate supporters of Dedicated, and our mission of using business as a platform to give back to nonprofits and people doing great work like you guys are doing, that they would go out to your website, check out Create Minneapolis. For us, again, we tie it to metric giving. So if you're a business, especially here locally, or this is an area of passion for you, we're happy to talk to you about how we created metric giving to work with Create Minneapolis, how as Dedicated grows, our funding for Create Minneapolis grows. And we thank you for working with Dedicated, and for Mike for bringing up the idea. And I hope you guys can just keep doing the great work you're doing. So thanks for being on the show. Appreciate you both. And
Thanks a lot.
thank you guys for tuning in. As always, please like, subscribe, comment. We'll put all the links in the description so you can check out Create Minneapolis. And as always, thank you for tuning in, and God bless.